Hello there, and welcome to All About the Love with Annie Parker. Today's guest is Krista Duarte, and we have some awesome conversations about loving where we live, entrepreneurship, and her business, Ridgefield Wedding and Events. It's an awesome place up Fickle Hill in Arcata, California, where you can have a party or a wedding, and we talk about all it takes to get where she's gotten and all the details for anybody interested in a wedding or a party up at her beautiful property. Hope you enjoy. Hello there. This is All About the Love with Annie Parker, and today I'm here with Miss Krista Duarte, and she has all sorts of fun stuff to talk about. I think we're going to start with your wedding venue.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us about Ridgefield?
Well,
tell us all the things, Krista.
Ridgefield is now entering, so where are we? We're beginning of March and of 2024.
2024?
Yeah. And
timestamp!
So, what's interesting actually is I've been in the hospitality and event venue industry since I was in my mid to late 20s. Mm-hmm. And but now I'm with a new partner and we're restarting a company, a business, Ridgefield Weddings and Events. And I've never really actually, I've been married, but like planning other people's weddings and stuff like that. That's a new.
What were your other service event jobs?
Well, they actually was in the wedding industry, and it was also like larger banquets for corporate things or small tent toppers.
Like on the food side
on the
of
food,
it.
And aesthetics and stuff like that, and other just big events. I lived in Tahoe, and that was just a common thing happening there. So, but that was a long time ago. So now that it's actually on Ridgefield is the property where I live, and it's a whole different thing, and it's really mine. I'm organizing and the proprietor of this. I'm not just the worker.
Right.
So with that, it's just like
you're the queen bee, baby.
I am the queen bee.
Yeah, we've been worker bees long enough, girl.
That's funny. That's my license plate too.
Queen bee. Oh God.
Anyway, so what is it? What is it that we're doing? We're doing.
Describe it. Well, you're on Fickle Hill.
We're on Fickle Hill.
Describe it because there's a beautiful story to the lake.
There is a beautiful story.
Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, my husband Scott Davies has owned this property for about 20 years, and is the steward of 80 acres, which currently we are betrothing 70 acres back to the city of Arcata. That in a conservation easement, and
what happens with that?
It basically will never be able to be built on, and we butt right up against the community forest, and so it's just these hundreds and thousands of acres that then go over the hill towards Blue Lake, and and what's beautiful about this property too, we found out through doing some of this research to be able to do the conservation easement is that when Arcata was formerly known as Uniontown, there was a train that actually came into the marsh, and that train would offload supplies and
they pulled up to Jacoby Storehouse.
Exactly.
Right?
And this was all exactly. And so then there was a, sort of basically a pony train that would go, just caravans and stuff like that. And I'm absolutely sure that before that it was the Native American route, but it was called the Trinity Klamath Trail, and actually that goes up Fickle Hill and right through our property that then goes down to Corbell and then over into Trinity.
Right.
Because if they're mining and taking out, minerals and gold and whatever they were doing. So anyway, so that's a little bit of the history there.
Cool. So that trail goes through.
Yeah, it goes right through.
Really cool.
Yeah. Yep. So and was very.
Have you ever been to the library in Eureka on the water? Good golly. Everybody should go there. On this top floor, the room with all of it's got like the yearbooks, the newspapers, all of the pictures. I love looking at what it used to look like. I worked at Six Rivers Brewery when it was in Old Town for a while, and the stories from that building of cowboys coming in and shooting it up, and there is so much, atrocities that Eureka was built on, but also it's just, I like that kind of thing. Do you have pictures and stuff of things like that up at Ridgefield?
No, we don't. And actually, we did it just by a piece of art today, but it's more of like the local landscapes and stuff like that. We love to support local artists and stuff, but that would be a great, we're going to Humboldt Room. Cal Poly Humboldt at the top of that library too. They have a.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
cool.
Humboldt room.
I haven't been to the Humboldt Library for a long time.
Yeah.
I used to like it there. Okay.
Back when we were students.
Back when-
studying.
right.
Anyway, so Ridgefield is growing and changing. Scott started doing weddings about maybe 15 plus years ago, 17 years ago. But it was more like, hey, I love your property. Could we get married here?
Yes.
And it was only in the last couple of years where we were like, this is something that we want to pivot towards. And
Actually do it with intention instead of just pop up in my property.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we started with our own wedding in 22,
Nice.
and we've been just doing a lot of infrastructure stuff.
And what is it like? What do you offer? How many people can come?
Well,
what's
I'm
the
so-
food? What's the
yes,
look? What's
yes.
the telltale?
That is evolving, and at first we were going to be venue only, but we realized that one, we're the only venue in Arcata. We can hold up to 350 to 400 people, like
Nice.
we're doing the Rotary Wine Fest this spring.
Oh, Henry, look at you go!
Yeah, and we have parking, and that is a critical thing.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big to have 150 parking spaces.
Yeah.
So there's that, and we're revamping some ADA bathrooms. We are putting in a 60 by 60 lawn tent that's even and flat and spacious.
Now, what is a lawn tent? Like where it has poles, so if it's not good weather or you want the shade,
Exactly.
you just pop it up. So is it like a dance floor?
Nope.
It's always
nope.
there? How?
So the house itself is a very colonial-esque estate.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. My husband's
But it's
original.
newer built.
Yes,
It's not
And
old,
yet
it just
it-
looks-
Yes, exactly. And
It
that was
looks like Ridgefield
his-
Estate.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
his
yeah.
intention. The balustrades,
Yes.
they're all growing moss and lichen,
Ooh,
and it has
beautiful.
just this we've got ivy and other creeping vines and stuff like
Yes.
that. We have a terrace. That has a couple of different garden beds, and then surrounded by garden beds and a beautiful archway that can have flower installations.
Nice.
That area right there itself can do about 150, 180 people seated. The 300-person wedding was we had to go up into the other parts of the terrace.
Uh-huh.
So there can be a lot of configurations. If you have a smaller wedding, 50 to 80 people, a lot of the tables can just be put in the terrace. But what we are offering now, because one of the parts that that we're doing to raise our exposure is having a good web designer and a good person to do your SEO and pop you up at the top.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that.
Who's helping you?
Her name is, shout out to Elizabeth at Snowmad Digital, and she is just an amazing.
And is she from here?
No, she's out in Idaho,
Nice.
living the skier's dream.
Nice.
And
Man, having
and
technological help is everything.
it's incredible. And
Yeah.
she is so thorough, and she does these little wrap-ups at the end of the month, and does her nerding out on all the data and the digital stuff. And my husband is just like, oh my god,
So
look at
how?
crap.
So what is it that you're paying? What is the service? Like, what is she wrapping up?
She
every
totally
month?
redid
tells you
our
where the people are looking at you from. Like, what kind
what
of
is
info?
actually working. And so one of the things I
Put
was
all your information in my head. I need to know
Yeah.
all the.
yeah, you could have a consultation
Yeah.
with her. She's incredible. She basically drafts it out for us and sort of walks us through and create and records a video of it, so we can go back and sort of try to just break it down and digest it.
Uh-huh.
But just where are people getting, and what words are getting the clicks, and what are people putting in? Like
Yeah.
redwood right now. What is very in the wedding world, in the wedding industry? What is trending? Because we know everything.
Well, because Marcia Davis, Misty Mountain Flora, she had her viral video on your property.
Right.
And when I saw it, well, I love that it's your place, but yeah, it really is like the hippest thing
it
there
drove
is right
that
now.
point
Yes.
home for us. We were like,
You're like, dude,
what?
we're on a gold mine. Like, yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what
How many locations on your property? Like that one was in the redwoods. Do you have one with a view? Do you have one in a lawn? Do you know what I'm saying? Like where there's options of where to go.
And what we've figured out too is really, and we're getting a lot of out of towners, a lot of destination people.
Oh, okay.
And so one of the things that it's just like, you could want to offer a lot, but really when it comes down to it, you need to only give people 2, maybe 3 choices max, because people
You
don't
spin
know.
out.
Most people have never they've never planned a wedding before.
Yeah.
And so you're really just trying to help them make decisions and make it cost effective for them, cost effective for us, you know, all of these things. And it takes a lot of energy to set up all this kind of stuff. So really the Grove is the hit, the gold gem, like you said.
Where Marcia's picture was.
Exactly. And we just invested in these beautiful benches. So we're going to have these beautiful benches set out there all the time. We do have a mobile arbor, but it's very dated. It was something that was built maybe a 10
and don't
or 12
a lot
years.
of times the florists bring, I mean,
That
seems like with Marcia,
she did a mobile installation that then could be moved to
the big circle one. I saw a circle one and then maybe like a triangular one.
She has that too, yeah. And she did one that was sort of like up and over and then a little thing here, and then that was all able to be moved by the arch, and then people could do other photography, you know, just little displays.
So what does Ridgefield offer? The place to be married, the parking, up to 400 wedding guests. Then you were talking about food,
all
housing,
inclusive.
there's bathrooms,
so
but
what
what else do you offer when they
is to pull all of the pieces, and this is one thing I love about this podcast, and that I really is sort of a mantra or a motto for me, is networking and supporting other small businesses and local people that are trying their asses off to make a living here in Humboldt.
Yeah.
Because so much
we
has
all
changed.
feed off of each other.
Yes.
Like every time I go like this to you, you do it to me. Yeah.
And so I just love to support other people's dreams. That's really what I love, because I love my dreams being supported. And so really, if I can Scott and I can come together, Ridgefield creates the list of who are the top vendors, who are the top in, I mean, how many photographers do we know here? But who are the best? Who are the best florists? Who are the best officiators? Who are the best?
Lord.
And I want to know who are the best DJs. Now, one thing about weddings is the food. This is where I want to talk about the food part. How are we going to, you know, create the experience based around food? Because most of the time weddings are about food and what happens before and after.
I sure like it when it is.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. And so we are moving towards an all-inclusive venue, because people...
Where you will be doing the food?
Where we have an in-house chef now. We have Chef Natalia Boyce.
Hi, Natalia Boyce.
And she has an incredible team. She does pop-ups at Centennial.
Now, can they bring their own food or hire out?
They
or
could.
Is it now when you are here, you use this?
Pretty much the food thing is the one non-negotiable.
Okay.
If they were just so much like, I want that taco truck and there's no other thing, then we'd be like, okay. And then we would have to charge you a service
I like
fee.
weddings, mainly party weddings, where you've got your foofy fancy food, and then they bring in a truck later for all the people that should not be in high heels anymore. I'm always like, there's a thinker.
That is absolutely
right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You can have Natalia's food and then the taco
and then
truck at midnight. Oh yeah, what does the sound do? Like? Seems like quite often, depending on where your wedding is, when you have to shut it down. Yeah.
So essentially, that was a big part of us checking in with all the neighbors within a 500 foot, distance. And so far, we have had overwhelming support and excitement over having a venue. And there's actually
neighbors.
The sound isn't really the issue. It's the drunk drivers that are driving away. The guests that might be unsafe. So we definitely have things in place to sort of look out for that. But our sound ordinance, we are like a 9:30 stop, a 10 o'clock hard stop for music. By the time a wedding starts, people started getting ready at about 11 and do a run through of their wedding and then start taking photos and then the ceremony's at 2 or 3, and then the food's at 4:35. The drinking starts, a little bit before that. By 8 o'clock and the music and the final toasts, by 9:30, people are like, there's 5% of the people left.
Yeah. Now, can people camp there?
Well, that's very interesting. And since we have last spoken, I have just created a wedding suite called the Wild Iris.
Nice.
And so that is a big seller or an addition. It could also be rented solely for the bridal party or one of the parties to get ready. We have 2 inside ready rooms. But if they want to be a little bit more separate, the grooms can get ready, the brides can get ready, whatever.
Yes.
So eventually, future forward thinking is Scott and I no longer, because we live in this home and we've got one last child going off to college next year, and it's a 4-bedroom, 3,800 square feet or something like that. We don't need that space.
Right.
So the number one question we get asked is, can we rent the whole house?
Yeah.
And right now the answer is not yet.
Right.
And so we're working towards that. So maybe building an ADU next door, because we own the property next door.
What's an ADU? Like a mother-in-law?
Accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
Yeah. So used to maybe be called a mother-in-law unit, but just ADU.
Okay.
And there is a lot of funding and a lot of scholarships and stuff, or maybe I don't know, grants or something that that you can get for doing that, because we're in California. We're in a housing crisis.
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are all future plans. But right now, our main thing is, tent lawn, the finishing up the bathrooms, the wedding suite, and just keeping up.
Now explain the tent lawn again more. So it's flat. So if they rent a dance floor, it's easy.
The terrace,
but it's really just grass.
The terrace is really the dance floor. The terrace inside, where like if people choose to get married under that arbor, the terrace, all of those chairs will then be taken away to be put around. The tent lawn is really more for tables. Is for dining.
Okay.
Because it really can be spread out. So before it was just tiered down, but we needed it to be, and I have a number 1 gopher. I'm not sure what rating this podcast is, but I have a way to eliminate gophers for life.
What do you mean, what rating?
Rating.
A+?
No, I mean like R, XXX.
What
is this?
I'm the host, honey. I don't fucking know, but we're definitely not PG.
Well, I'm killing the gopher. That's all I got to say. I've been getting rid of gophers.
How do you do it?
Road flares.
Oh my Lord, I got road flares in there. That's what I got. So you just put them in the hole.
Thank Doug Halsey, garden artist. I learned it from him. I love to plug people.
I mean, they are so dangerous.
Yes, you basically find
Bo
out.
spends the whole summer. He'll just sit. You can see him right up there, and he just sits. He just looks at him the whole time.
Hearing.
He'll tilt his head.
Totally.
And then I'll look back, and he's still out there.
Yeah.
He's got one buddy up here, and I'm like, I'm gonna get your buddy's buddy.
Yeah. So that's ankle breakers. I'm not doing it. Not just. And actually, you know what? They've just migrated away. They've just you want to, I'll give you a space, but you just be over there in the parking lot.
Yeah, you're not allowed over here in my lusciousness.
One of the things that we also invested in was a really good venue coach, Tears of Kathy. She has a venue out in North Carolina called Alexander Homestead. She's been in the wedding event business and industry her whole life. Her family is 5 generations into the wedding venue industry, and so we hired a coach, and I really think we got are continuing to get our money's worth and the support that we really need. Because we want to. I'm going to be 52 next week. I don't have a lot of time to be making mistakes.
To muddle around.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've learned that, we want
some things you learn from muddling, and that's the way to do it.
Exactly.
And then there's this fine line of, I am worthy of high tier, straight knowledge from what I need.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like YouTube University, like getting in there, nuggling around, helps because your mind. But when you know exactly what you want, just go fucking get it.
Are we zigzagging? Life is like that, but we could have an A to B pretty straight shot. So anyway, that's been great. And she and Elizabeth, our SEO,
so talk
they
about
work together.
Oh no, Elizabeth I thought was, Natalie was the cook.
Natalie Boyce and her team.
Yeah.
Well, we searched and searched and searched, and that was been the hardest thing. There are not that many great caterers around that do high elevated culinary experiences. And that have time. And so we actually interviewed. We actually had our coach do little one-on-ones outside of us to sort of get a third-party hit on things. And Natalia is in her 30s. She lives out in Blue Lake, and she's just ready for something new. And she didn't want to be driving with her team 2 hours, And so it's just like, well, how can we scratch each other's back? You get to, bring your artistic creations, and you also, and it's just like we're all getting older. It's harder to do the thing.
So Ridgefield is now her kitchen.
Well, she has her own kitchen, so she'll do a lot of the prepping and the cooking and stuff like that. But yes, our kitchen will be the staging operation plus our food room and so.
And she can kind of matriculate into whatever they're asking, or does she have set menus? How are you guys doing that?
Yes, we are doing set menus, and also too we're doing
when
some
you're
cultural
a bride,
things.
There is so many choices to have it be like. Here this is, what a relief.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's set in the way of like, okay, do you want chicken and pork or tri-tip with some oysters? Like how there's always an add-on. There's always an up level of whatever people's budget's about. But really, generally, an average wedding is about somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000.
Yes.
Our venue is $6,500 just for the venue, and then we start building.
And that's for
there.
an entire day.
That's for an entire day. That includes tables and chairs up to 150 people.
Okay.
That includes, you don't have to bring in like Queen of Thrones, which shout out to Queen of Thrones or Six Rivers B&B. Those are the very exquisite high end.
Queen of Thrones is a porta name.
Yes.
Oh my lord!
Brooke.
I only knew we had B&B.
Yeah, no, Brooke
Queen of
is
Thrones,
yes, she's great and very responsive and easy to work with and totally love all. And so maybe if our bathrooms don't, maybe if it's a 400 person wedding or event, our bathrooms might only accommodate 200, so we have to do an add-on.
Right.
So that's fine, no problem.
But
people just need to be able to see what is on offer, and then they get to sort of pick and choose.
So within what you're doing with the Ohio and the East Coast, Natalie and who else? Your website person.
So Elizabeth and Tirza, we met them actually. And this is another thing. I think what's really important is that we continue to educate ourselves. So we, Scott and I, went to the Wedding MBA in Vegas. It's a convention that has all of these just distilled think tanks of this is how you really could do it, and does this apply to you? And so for us, we were like a little sort of out of our, world, like, okay, what are we doing here? So we're going to go back again this next year, and we know more specifically what we're looking for. Yeah. And also too, what we need just a little bit more training on. So it's going to be great.
But are they helping you figure out like a book? Because I'm wondering, should we tell the peeps out there, like if you have anything to do with the wedding industry, call this little hottie. So you can, like, are you going to find, so when somebody from out of town Googles Redwoods, sees Marcia's post, finds you, then you can say, well, here's this,
absolutely.
Here's this,
Not only that, here's the other thing.
Like hairdressers.
Here's the other thing that we're investing in, which is called CRM. And I forget what that stands for, but it's basically a service where it's like it's automated. And so if you fill out your contact form, you get an email immediately. You're not doing it. I'm not doing it. Scott's not doing it. It's automatic.
Yes.
You pay for that service.
Yes.
And it just like all of a sudden, and then you can click on something else, and you can say, oh, okay, this is what generally, these are the ranges. If I choose this is the range.
Yeah.
And it's just responsiveness. It's so important to be, in good communication with your clients, your guests, your people.
Mainly now, I think in this new age, how often do you call and you're not going to get a person?
Yeah.
You're going to spend an hour pressing buttons, leaving frustrating. Like when you actually get response,
Scott,
it up-levels your yes button.
Yeah.
So much because you're like, oh, Joanne's. Oh, this is smooth. Oh, look at the response. I mean, it's like customer service is so crazy now. It's like tip me for me doing nothing.
Right.
So when you do any service with ease and with intention like that, now it's like you feel like you're like, oh my gosh.
It shows the integrity and the intention of what the business owners, what the brand is really trying to achieve. And Scott is a master at that. That's why he is the head, the CEO of this business, really, because people invariably are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for getting back to me like within 20 minutes.
Is he the business and you're the creatrix kind of?
We both do a lot of soundboarding off of each other, but yes, like I am the person that is, I mean, he's aesthetically very, savvy as well, but I'm like executing a lot of those types of things and pulling together the energy. He's I get up at 5:30 in the morning and caffeinate and like boop, 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 my brain's going, and I'm more like, okay, I'm going out to the garden, I'm getting this crew together, I'm cleaning up the blank, and I like moving my body. I like being in the middle of sort of like the what's happening next. Like do not let a planning phase go past me or else I'm going to have a shit fit.
Right.
I don't like that. That made me 2 inches lower.
Oh,
really?
Lord.
We have to reframe that? Yes, you do.
You really do. I could go crazy. Yeah. Nuance.
So let's see. That's a little bit of everything that's happening. We're like the all-inclusive. And then
what are your goals for this year?
Well, we already freaking hit our goal.
2 months in.
Yeah, seriously. 2 months in on
what
doing.
What is your goal? What was it, baby?
Well, basically, we set a number of paid events. And actually, it's funny because our coach was like, why did you pick that number? And we were thinking a little small. We were thinking, how many Saturdays are there in a wedding season? But really, we've come to find out that elopements, micro weddings, a premiere day is on Saturday. But a lot of people want to get married on a day that is so rando because, that's when we met.
Or the date.
The date. Exactly. Exactly.
And I find, too, that people are starting to do things differently because of, life is so expensive. It's like flights and such.
Yeah.
Now that people don't do the 9 to 5 the same way, it's like they can work and get a cheaper flight and have it on a Wednesday.
Absolutely.
The Airbnbs, the hotels, the flight, everything's cheaper.
Yep.
The hairstylists, easier to find.
In fact, I would like to ask you, are you interested in doing something like that? Okay.
No.
Good to know.
Look at me. I told Olivia, my daughter, I was like, girl, you're going to actually turn me into a hairstylist as I retire. Because she's like, no, Mama, it's called a styling brush. I'm like, I just use detangler. She wants me to use the flat iron to make a curl. I'm
so you don't do wedding hair. Is that too stressful?
It's just not my jam.
Okay.
I just don't really like fancy.
Yeah.
I have gifted it to multiple people. If I love you. If you asked me, I would have done it for you for your gift. And then it's different. Then I'm just there because I want to marinate in you. I love your friends. It's awesome. I'm really good at helping and energetically softening things. Yeah. So it was such a wonderful gift. And then my ass gets to be in the cool club and be back scenes, But as something to be paid for, it was never mine. Prom hair, But I freaking love high schoolers. Yeah. And I used to close the salon and let one of my favorite high schoolers bring their friends and then would all be fancy and they'd be like, my Angie has this,
Right.
I like doing things like that.
Yeah.
But it's more like a best friendship gift.
Right. Yeah.
But no, other than that, it's just not. It's not my jam.
Right.
But I do know that Rosemary that bought my Parker's Beauty Bar. Now it's called Foils.
Okay.
You should look that up.
Okay.
Roro.
Okay.
She is fucking amazing. And she does makeup.
Okay.
And she's so she is a whole different version. She's very classy.
I'm going to go in there
cuss at your clients or anything. And then also Shanae, who used to work for me also, opened the parlor right behind Starbucks in McKinleyville.
Okay.
Shanae, you're doing an amazing job.
Okay.
She has such an amazing spot. My paintings are in there.
Oh, cool.
She has great taste in who she hires, great talent, and that would be good for a larger wedding.
Great.
But those are who I would reach out to.
Okay, great. Because that's the other thing I need to start building my vendor list of.
And Shanae got the parlor has nails also.
Oh, okay.
And tanning. Brides
Excellent.
like to be tanned.
Okay, perfect.
But Rosie might also. So she's Foils.
Okay.
Where Parker's Beauty Bar used to be.
Yep.
And then the parlor is behind there. But definitely give them. But Roro does the makeup too.
Great.
and Shanae, they do the team.
And would like come on site too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know, because obviously I don't
Sort of
get that done very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the at Parker's, when it was a big salon, we had a lot of people that would come from the it's the Air Force, Coast Guard. Thank you. And you know, they're only here for a little bit,
Right.
And so one of the wives that I did the hair of, she made a binder, kind of like what you guys are gonna do, and it was so amazing. So she had like the best trails and the best grocery stores and the best place to get hair, where you should go for clothes. So when the wives would come, they would be like, "Oh shit, I've got the key in."
I
do
cool. know Taylor Lefebvre and Lisa. They just got married. He's been around forever. We just stayed at their cute little vacation rental last night.
Taylor, hot guy around my age-ish.
Bear.
Yes. I don't fully know them.
Literally, and I just saw him at,
Okay.
I just literally stayed at their little vacation rental.
Okay.
And I took pictures of their, so
Yes.
Lisa and Taylor,
Yes.
they've got they're on Patrick's Point, and the name of their vacation
The
rental.
Wind and the Tide.
The Wind and the Tide.
Yes.
Hot tub right on the edge.
Oh, for your birthday celebration.
Yeah, last
you got to
night.
do that in Larapin?
Yeah.
The Wind and the Tide in Larapin. Good job.
And my beautiful new, I got to get it sized, but my new Shinola.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
slinky.
I gotta get it.
Uh-oh, birthday girl.
Anyway, it's all good. Life is so good. It's so
It
juicy.
is.
It's so wonderful. It can be very stressful,
Yeah.
but to be all about the love and just pairing, trimming away any of the anxieties for
Yes.
people and saying, "We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is your special day." So
No doubt, right?
Anyway,
Like,
yeah,
sit
it takes
down,
so
little
much-
mama.
yeah, it takes so much to prepare.
Krista's
for
on it.
Yeah.
I got
And
it.
I feel like, and my husband is so, I'm not saying he's control freak, but he really likes to get it
It's
right.
nice to have a dabble of that.
And so if we have a little bit more of a say, or a lot bit more of like, this is how it's going to go, people are so much more self-assured. Not only that, but what the other thing I find is that there are parents that live here and their kids want to come back from, maybe they're in the Coast Guard over on the East Coast or something, but they want to get married here, and then the parents are overwhelmed, and they're probably paying for a majority of it. So it's like, if we can chip away at a lot of those, main details, and keep a sense of calm about it.
Right, keep it about the love, the connection, the family.
Yeah.
Instead of like color coordinated
Yeah.
almonds
Yeah.
and stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
many details.
Before we finish up, I would like you to tell me, what is, at this moment in your life, what is one of your most cherished nuggets of brilliance? Like, what do you feel? You're almost 52. Like, what is the wisdom that is pumping you along right now that you want to share? Like, what's the good?
Hands down,
takeaway?
Everything's impermanent. Everything is temporary.
Oh, I love that.
And like
The good and the bad. Like, just quit grasping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you
Oh,
got a flat
that gave
tire
me
today,
chills.
and you were like,
I totally was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, me getting my knickers in a bundle over this. And it was really nice. Me and Bo went for a little walk. Yes. Say it one more time. I love it.
impermanence.
Yeah.
Everything is impermanent.
Yeah.
I'm impermanent. You're
Right.
impermanent. My bad mood was impermanent.
Yes.
That cup of coffee
Stress.
was impermanent. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yes.
really, for me, the distilled in my spiritual practice is, if I'm clinging to something so hard, or I'm avoiding something, those set me into a state of suffering.
Yeah.
Because I'm clearly worried or struggling. And
Yeah.
so I need to do less of that, and the only way to do that is through surrender and through letting go.
Yeah.
And saying, you know what, this too shall pass. I'm sort of a slogan person.
Yeah. They help me.
Yeah. And
Mantras
so
really help me.
exactly.
Because what my honey and I are acknowledging is most of our strife is from old repeated thoughts and patterns and loops of beliefs. And it's like, you don't even need to believe that.
Right.
So why are you repeating it in your mind? You're like slapping yourself over and over when you could just go and choose a new story.
Right.
a new way.
Yeah.
My new one that I'm really liking is, why is this happening for me? Like that is snapping me out of stuff. Because
it takes you out of a victim
role.
role.
To play victim sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like so cute. Like, you know, like, do you want to play with me or poor me? When it's like, no, like, why is this happening for me? What am I getting from
what
this?
is this
and
teaching
then
me?
it's like, and you're not like positive poly bullshit, toxic positivity, whatever all those hit words are now. It's really more like, okay, what is this?
Bright sighting,
Yeah,
or whatever. One of my coaches would tell me, this is when I was in coaching more regularly and stuff. It's like, what's good about this?
Because you were a life coach, right?
Yeah.
I think when I met
I've
you,
also
you were a life
been
coach.
coaching a lot of other things, sports,
surf
and
camp,
yoga, and skiing, and all the things. And I've sort of moved away from that for various reasons, COVID and whatnot. But what is good about this? Like,
hot honey with 80 acres. I mean, that kind of can change a bath too.
My previous property was just right over the hill here. Was almost 50 acres, and I'm like, wait a second, this is clearly what God wants me to do.
Right.
Like, wants me to be
I
a
should be on some
steward,
acreage.
to like take care of some things. So, but yeah, what's good about this? Like, even if it's something is super hard and we're challenged by it, there's something good about it.
Yeah,
there is.
Yeah,
and it's working for us. If we just don't react, we are responding with curiosity and
responding with curiosity.
And being like, okay, I'm supposed to learn something here. What is this about? You know, and so often, because we see it all the time. We see it on social media. We see it on. We've grown. You know, we're programmed and conditioned to react. Yeah. You know, it's what gets the numbers or the whatever. Or get an immediate response, and then. You know, I read once you defend, you go to war. So I am naturally sort of a defensive person.
Why are we always defending, right?
Because it's about survival.
I go like this.
It's about survival.
But if you go like this, you know, like how drunk people in an accident are safer.
Yeah, because they're relaxed.
Because they're, like sometimes it's like, this is still happening. You know, like when you're really cold and you think warm thoughts and you relax your body, you get warmer. Yeah. Because when you're thinking that you're cold and you tighten up, the cold just...
Yeah, you contract.
You know, it's like that with your mind too.
Expansion or contraction. Expansion. And it is that we cannot
have... both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We cannot
You
have
can't just swirl around. You have to have some bones.
Nothing is sustainable, too. I went to... Do you know who Matt is?
Oh, yeah. Nothing permanent again.
Yeah. And it's not... And nothing is sustainable. Like, we can't... We want to keep having that good feeling and that good feeling, but you can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So really, everything is, and the Pali Buddhism word for that is anicca, A-N-N-I-C-A, anicca. Yeah. So anicca. So in Pali. So it's like one of my teachers is like, I listen to this meditation and I'm like, yep, it's all impermanent.
Yeah.
And it's about liberating ourselves from trying to hold ourselves into this place of perfection or always getting it right, which I like to get it right. Yeah. I really do. And yet, at the end of the day...
But there's an undulation and an unfolding to the right. And then you start again. And it's, what are we? How are we? I got it right. New plan. You know, it's like a constant cycle.
Definitely.
I mean, like I ended my cycle with hair. Obviously, I'm still doing hair. But... I am ready for something else. I couldn't have got there until I was there. Yeah. So now I'm in the bumble stage. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's actually called...
I need to work on this. I need lighting. Oh, we didn't even turn the lighting on. You know, it's like, where with the hair, it's like I've worked out all the willy-nilly.
That's called the liminal or the void. And so, like, in the hero's or heroine's journey, Joseph Campbell, you know, you cross over the threshold. You know, you've made the decision. You've made the decision. I'm not doing that any longer. Or I've got to let that go. Or this is done. Crossing over. And then you might swirl around for a little while until you're ready. And then you cross back
over. Or go like this. I've got lots of swirls.
It literally can happen every minute, every hour, every month, every year. There's something always going on. It's always happening. But it's, again, I think that's why the pause in between the breath, because you and I are like the same. And then it's like, okay, no, the pause in between the breath. And then we get to view things, because it's like...
Yeah. Boda's really good at that. Yeah. He will just, like, the whole family, you know, we're always doing things. And then he'll be lying there and he'll just go... And I swear the whole family's like, thanks, Bo. Like, it's so easy
Right.
to just be cracking.
Right.
I have to remind myself, and when I do, I know, thanks, Bobo. See, even sometimes because he's so cute, just makes me sit down longer.
Yeah, presencing.
Yeah,
Biz
because if you
dogs.
start to move, he'll look at you and be like, Mama.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Bobo. I'll follow my squirrels later. Well, I love you. Thank you very much.
Love you too.
I'm really excited. I can't wait. Who's going to invite me to a wedding? I want to come. I want to come dance.
Well, maybe this is part of
I want to
your
come
new-
dance
maybe
on
this
your
is-
terrace.
Maybe this is part of your new journey. I'm sort of curious about what your new journey is. Have you thought about it, or you just want to be in the liminal space for a while?
I think my new journey is the podcast.
Okay.
Is doing a little bit more one-on-ones without the hair.
Yeah.
You know, I love when people going on walks with them, going on calls with them, sitting on this couch with them, texting them, just kind of helping. I have been speaking with people for so long. My heart is so big and gushy. So, you know, not coaching, but friending. Like,
Yeah.
call me. Like, let me help you untangle some things. The podcast, still more art and design, but I'm doing the interior design differently.
Mhm.
I'm wanting to just go to people's houses and help them fall in love with their home. Not really design it, but help them find their colors, find their style, name their home. Like when a family knows
Yeah.
what their home is, when they write love letters to their home. I've got some color games. I hope people really find that they know how to create their space.
Mhm.
And when they do, like families come together more. I mean,
Yeah.
so just things like that.
That's beautiful.
And still doing hair. It's a great way to
Yeah.
make out with people, and you know, people like what I like. I do like that, but it's just a little shifting.
Yeah. Cool.
Just a little.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's.
I know, that's a
exactly what
lot.
we need to do.
We're busy babies.
Yes, we are.
All right.
All right.
I love you. Thank you. And everybody,
Thank you,
we will
everybody.
be putting everything down in the, you know, podcast brilliance to find.
Ridgefield Weddings and Events. That's where you can find us.
That's where it's at. And she'll boss you around because then you can relax and enjoy. You're brilliant. I love it.